Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Tuesday, the 13th of August, and I am your host, Shozen, and with me today is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Good morning, good morning. I am doing good. How are you?
I am doing well, still dealing with the construction in my office as there was no power in my office today, so I did not move the desk. But other than that, I'm doing fantastic here in the makeshift office in my bedroom with no cam. Because I'm not putting a webcam on in my bedroom. That just doesn't seem like a good thing to do.
All right. I guess we can deal with no cam Shozen today. Well, what's on today's show, Sheldon?
Well, we got some community shout-outs. We've got a little bit of roundtable news. As you guys are probably well aware, there was some leaks yesterday, and we're going to go over that stuff. We have a small bit of official news, and that's about it. We're going to mostly go over some of the leaks that were made the other day that was on the roundtable, and I guess we'll be talking about hideouts today, won't we, Bogle?
Yes, we will try to explain that system a little bit in detail, comment on it a bit, and see how much time we need for this. And then depending on that situation, we will see how the show progresses. But first, as we always have to do, at the beginning of the show, we have to look at the official news. And while this is not official news, this is still relevant since it is a wanted announcement from myself for the Albion Wiki. The official Albion Wiki is looking for community editors, for a few contributors who have some time to join the Albion Wiki project and help push that forward. We are looking for a few individuals who are knowledgeable about Albion and who are interested in helping us keep the wiki up to date, polished, and even writing some bits and pieces here and there. There is the link to that Shozen. I think you can post that in Twitch chat, but we will also have that later on. You can, if you manage to join the wiki, even get some gold for your efforts on a regular basis.
Cool.
It also comes with roundtable access and the technical access. Yeah,
that's way better than what I'm offering people with the guest spot on the Albion Live show on Tuesdays. Because I'm not really giving anything to Logic this afternoon when he gets here, and I'm just giving him a bunch of work to do and saying, "Get your ass to work, young man. I need VODs." And
right.
Yeah.
Well, the hope for the wiki is that this is a long-term situation, so it's I guess for the casting as well, but still, it's a ideally it's when you like to do these things anyways. Talking about Albion, writing down your knowledge, then it might be a good way to earn some extra monies if you can be consistent. Yeah, that's a plug I wanted to do at the beginning of the show, but that's about all we have for official news today, Shozen.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I mean, we do have the little bit of news that we will have Logic on this afternoon in about an hour. He's going to join us sometime in the next hour for live GVGs, and we will be covering live GVGs, as I did figure out how to get that to happen for Logic, and we can thank Elsa for that. Thank you, Elsa. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to having a couple new people try out. We do have another person trying out. So Action Compassion will be joining us probably in a week's time. So let's hope that works out well as well. We got a lot of people trying. It's pretty cool. But Bogle, before we get on to the meat of today's show, where we get into the nitty gritty and go into what really happened in the Roundtable Leaks version 2 hideouts, let's talk about some community stuff, like some shout outs. Talk about what people are doing for season 7, Bogle.
Yeah. If you recall, I asked various guilds for any statements they would have for Season 7. The Season 7 guild season has kicked off already for almost 2 weeks now. We're in the middle of the second week. And the statements came in, and today we are going to talk about a French group. They are part of the Dawn Alliance, and their guild name, I hope I don't butcher it, but it's L'Equipage de Mugiwara or something.
Oh, you butchered that.
I tried. I apologize for that.
We can even say you bouchard that.
Is that French? I don't think so.
That's what you said the first time. We said just messing with you. It's okay. Let's go. Continue on with the French guys. I love. If
you want to try to find them on the season rankings, they are there somewhere.
I would pronounce this guy's name as Petit Fils. So let's just be clear. I'm not going to be reading any of the French here. So let's hear what Petit Fils has to say.
Okay. He says, so for the season 7, we have some plans and the level of GVG with our alliance Dawn. We have also a plan to take back part of the territories left by Articulum Mortis. So Mugiwara is a guild that has been in place since the release. We have been a guild for a long time, more than a competitive guild, just a competitive guild. But we always had ambitious goals. It was therefore at the end of season 3 that began to give themselves the means to reach these goals. We made several alliances during our history, which allowed us to learn a lot about the game. And for season 7, Mugiwara is aiming for the gold rank, and we are really excited about the changes that we'll bring this season. They also say that they are a 100% French guild, and they're actively recruiting. So if you are looking for a guild that not only aims to for gold rank, but also aims for the top 1 French rank during that season, maybe they are an option for you. Wow. They're a member of the Dawn Alliance, which has about 1,700 members, and is, as far as I know, mostly comprised about French guys. I'm going
to have to do another community spotlight on the French guilds in general and get Coco back in here to tell us what's going on. Now that Frog 1 isn't the undisputed king of the French guilds, it's going to be interesting. I want to see who else has what going on. I want to figure out some stuff, Bogul. I want to learn what's going on with the French guilds in Albion.
So if somebody wants to tell us or tell you about the different communities or the different or the French guys, how would they go about it?
If say you have a community that you think needs some some highlighting, you can contact me on Discord, Shozen #4236, and guess what? We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We'll tell the world of Albion all about your special community, no matter how special it is. I mean, I do interview Gluttony on the regular and listen to his very special community of Arch.
Okay. So anybody can come on the show, or would you have to do
I would record them? I would record them because to get on the show requires a background check, and I don't like doing those.
Okay. All right. That is our community spotlight for today. L'Equipage des Mugiwara. Okay. Do you want to take a brief look at the rankings as well?
Of course I do, because we haven't talked about those in a while, have we? We took a little bit of a break. We were a little busy yesterday when things happened. Let's look at the season rankings and talk about the new number 1, who has passed Guerreros, who unfortunately were unable to keep up the incredible breakneck pace that they had, and were unable to stay in first, and have been passed by the Black Order, the new absolutely best guild in the game. Black Order, the new number 1. They're doing fantastic. I mean, clearly they have 38,000, almost 39,000 season points. Impressive work for these guys. 261 of the most bangingest members of the Albion community that you'll ever find. Though, here's the thing, Bogul. In a week, I don't think they will be in first anymore.
What?
No.
Why?
Because I look at number 2, and I look at number 3, and I look at number 4, and I look at number 5, and I say, look at number 6, and I say, all those guilds have a track record that says we're coming after number 1. And number 2 there, because I forgot this is a podcast. All right, so number 2 being Money Guild at 30,000, 31,000 basically, has a very good shot at catching up in the next week. As I don't think they're going to be getting many, guild challenge points anymore, which might be what's pushing over guilds like the Black Order and Guerreros. I believe
So
Money
you say
Guild's
next week.
week.
I think the guild challenge is still a thing that will continue for a time, but the
points
speed of
max,
points
the
will slow
points
down.
hit the max, and then it slows down. I don't think they will be making it. It will make as much of a contribution once we see people over 30,000 points. And it's going to be interesting to see how Phrasing and Money Guild do. I think this one is Money Guild's season to lose, really. I think they are the number 1 seed to win this season, hands down. They are, I would say, the most likely to win it. It doesn't look like anybody really who's historically been at the top is going to be challenging them. There's no Shelty, there's no BA, there's Phrasing has oftentimes been very close, and it would be interesting to see if they could do it. But I really say the advantage goes to Money Guild with its huge number of GVG teams that it has right now. It's got a very good open world presence with TC and Oops. I just think they're the lead dog this season, even though they're in second place behind the incredible, undefeated Black Order. Just incredible, amazing.
Black Order is a bunch of Russians, I think, mixed together from 02 and the Echo of Red Army, I think is what it was called. So yeah, these guys have been putting in a bunch of time so far. They say they mostly got it through mage raiding, some GVDs, and basically the whole package actually. So they're using all the streams of guild points they can get, and it's working out for Black Order so far. We'll of course keep you posted as how this progresses, and we're just into the second week. We are still very early in the season, so a lot of things can and will change.
Yeah, they will, as they always tend to do. Speaking of changing, so on Friday, Bogul, this is a good segue. On Friday, we had some information drop after, I don't know when it exactly dropped onto Reddit, but I do know it dropped onto the roundtable right before the roundtable call, and it caused all sorts of chaos and both of a good nature and a bad. People were both excited and people were furious, and I like it when people are on either end of the spectrum. It's fun for me. You get lots of drama that way. And apparently they announced some very, very big things, Bogo. What did they announce in those changes that were leaked onto Reddit?
So many things. We talked about one of these features yesterday in yesterday's episode already, but for those of you who might have missed that, the developers went to the roundtable and announced not only a way to deal with zone capping, overcrowded large zones, which they call the smart cluster queue. They went into details as to the new hideouts system that we knew from the roadmap already. They proposed a new open world territory conquest change to the current mechanics. They hinted at some details of the new Outland map. However, this one is still very in the shrouds, and they detailed their idea of the Crystal League system that would replace the GVGs and the normal Crystal matches that we have right now. And yesterday we did talk a lot about the Crystal League and your thoughts about that, and today we want to look at the leaks from the hideouts and go over these a little bit. Do you have anything else you would like to say about the Crystal?
Yes.
In regards to yesterday?
Yeah, because already, I'm only going to talk, I was just going to say, hey, yeah, they've already kind of gotten back to us on the crystals and given us more feedback and made some changes and already gotten into the discussion of, hey, thank you guys for listening to our proposal. Thank you for having some constructive feedback. We listened to it over the weekend. We came up with some ideas that we think you guys might like, and on the parts that you guys didn't, you guys had a lot of pushback on, that we would like to keep, here are why we're keeping them, because this is a more in-depth explanation of what we're going to do. And it was nice to see that. I mean, sometimes we get that with the round table, but this was very quick, and the response was very positive on the changes. So I'm really looking forward to that. They've already been leaked onto Reddit, so we might talk about that again tomorrow. But we want to, we wanted to talk about hideouts today, because hideouts are something that have been discussed a number of times over and over again, but without giving any really, really clear information on how they were going to work. But some of that information was kind of leaked onto Reddit last week, and instead of giving you guys the brief snippet of information, we'd like to clarify some of that, and we would like to go over it and talk about some of it and discuss it. Wouldn't we, Bogul?
Again, the disclaimer here: we are casters who do the show. We are not the developers.
Yeah, that's true.
Have some way of asking for stuff that might get some response, but honestly, we are on the player side with this as well, so we know as much as you do, almost. And then that's a disclaimer prior. So you want to explain and go through the basics of the hideouts, or
okay. Let's just talk about really right off the front. The goals are to allow guilds to truly live in the Outlands, not restricted by if they own a territory or not. Sounds pretty easy. Guilds can place a hideout anywhere in the Outlands. Sounds pretty easy. Hideouts can be attacked for free before they are established, but once they are established, they can be attacked by the local cluster owner by investing siphoned energy and beating it down repeatedly with siege weapons. Okay, now we're getting a little complex. Hideouts can be used by guilds in a similar way to home plots. It sounds like to me they're going to be the new home plots. They can be upgraded for increased defenses and improved features. Yes, taking them from a standard like little place where you can just spawn, almost like a tower, if you will. It's like your own personal tower, like old school tower, where you would have a chest, a guild chest, and just a place to spawn from, basically, right? That's what the most basic one sounds like. All the way up into something that sounds just like a fully upgraded town plot. So there's a range of how these things will work as we're getting. All right.
And maintaining a hideout costs food as well.
Yes,
so
the food has become quite the topic as of late, hasn't it? All right. So
I wanted to just say that, because usually we don't really respond to chat, but I just saw that will the current homeplots be converted to hideouts? I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it doesn't sound like that.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
There's no plans for that. Yeah.
But the way it sounds like, this is just us postulating on what we've heard and what makes the most sense. It sounds like the new Outlands will be all territories, all resource territories without home plots. There may be other types of territories that we are not privy to yet, like dungeon territories or giant dungeons. Who knows what Avalon will be, for example. But it sounds like the majority of tiles will be like your resource towers that we have now. And in there will be a tower that can be claimed, and people can put these hideouts anywhere, whether they own that tower or not.
That there are a few restrictions in regards to where you can place hideouts, but there is no information on that, right? I'm assuming you can't put your hideout next or inside a portal zone, for example, or inside I don't know, some weird dungeon or something. So I think there will be dedicated zones that are available to place them. But let's talk about the placement.
Yeah,
how you can them.
Do you want to do it, or you go ahead?
Sure, let's do one, and then I just do this one. Placement. Placed like a furniture item, requires a hideout kit crafted at a tool maker from stone, silver, and siphoned energy. It can only be placed in the prime time of a cluster or at the beginning of that, in the Outlands. Hideouts block placement of other furniture items in the surroundings, and in the first 15 minutes after placement, the hideout is visible on the minimap and vulnerable to attack before it becomes invulnerable. A freshly placed hideout has a single shield. So they introduced the idea of shields. They introduced the idea that you can carry around the kit and you have to make them before.
It has invulnerability times and vulnerable times. There's a lot of things that that you have to unpack here. So it sounds like this: you take your box, you channel it for a period of time. Once during that can be interrupted. They've said that the channel can be interrupted. Once you place it, it appears on the map as right here, guys. Somebody just placed a hideout. Come and get it. So you don't want to do it solo. You want to do it with your guild present to defend it. And when it's vulnerable, this is vulnerable to anybody. Anybody can come and attack it and hit it with its siege hammers, because once it's vulnerable, you can only destroy it with siege hammers. And it has one shield. That means if that one shield is destroyed, it's gone. Like once it's placed as that one shield, you destroy it with hammers, it's just gone. It's destroyed. Everything that was in it would be... Players are kicked out.
At that time, there's nothing in it yet, right?
Right.
So you'd have to.
Well, there might be some people who go instantly in the first 15 minutes, go bind their home plot there, because we talked about this. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But in the first 15 minutes, you could go and bind your home plot there, so that it's easier for you to defend.
You mean
your spawning point? Yes.
Yeah.
And so that if you die while defending it, you could spawn back there and come back and defend it again. But you'd want to bring a bunch of gear there, drop it off, and do whatever to defend it. But if you did bring gear and it was destroyed, the gear inside your personal box would then be transported to the nearest city, and you'd have access to it for 4 weeks. However, it sounds like to avoid any instant transporting of goods, it would be delayed by like 24 hours, maybe 48 hours for you to even be able to pick it up the first time. They are already thinking about the situation which would occur if somebody was trying to use one of these as instant transport to the city.
There will be some ways to discourage that, but I think we're still talking about placement, right? Right now, you don't even have it down. And just assume you have gathered your 50 best friends and you got that placement done. You established your thing, and now you have a hideout in a zone somewhere in the Outlands. You assume, or the idea, I think, is that it's your new home plot, right? It's your new base of operations for your guild, and you start to upgrade it. You can build houses in there, like the refining stations, the crafting stations, all of this stuff that even some farms, I think, that you could do in the old territories. And that's your new way to establish yourself, establish a base in the Outlands. And then other people figure out that you have this base and they don't like it. They don't like that you are in that zone.
Yeah.
And they want to get rid of you.
Say you've already placed it, you've got your shield down, and who say it's been 15 minutes. Who can attack you and when, Bogul? When can somebody come in and start doing the attacking? Or would you like me to describe this part? Because it gets a little...
I can try to read it because I don't want to make mistakes.
Okay, go ahead and read it. You read better than I do.
Okay. Attacking and defending a hideout. Hideouts have a maximum number of shields depending on their level. They start with a maximum of 2. A hideout is normally invulnerable to attack, but during the first 30 minutes of prime time, it becomes vulnerable if it's not at full shields, or if it is at full shields, it remains invulnerable, but the attacker can interact with the hideout and break this invulnerability, and doing so costs some amount of resources like siphoned energy. So that seems a little bit weird, right? It seems like you just walk up to it and then channel it during the prime time. But I think how this is supposed to work is that you interact with the tower.
The tower itself. This is where
the tower in the zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
The from what we understood is that the owner of the tower has the ability to attack the home plots in the area. and
In the
they
zone, yeah.
yes,
The
in the
hideout in the
entire
zone.
zone. And they do that by, in the first 30 minutes of the prime time, taking hammers to the doors or whatever object is the destructible piece, whether it's some kind of monument or monolith, who knows what it is. You go and you start smacking on that. That can be interrupted because it's hammers by your guild attacking it, and it's constantly repairing itself over that time period too. So you can't just come in with 5 guys and just beat the crap out of it in 2 minutes and be out of there, or hit it for 2 minutes and then run away and drag the defenders away and then go back at it and whack it again. You have to have a concerted effort to beat it down after having beaten the forces. So you'd probably go in with forces ahead of time before the prime time, attack the people, keep them at bay, keep them in their home or whatever, and then start whacking on the doors as best you can with a large force to defend yourselves.
All right. Okay. Looking at the time, I'm seeing we only have 5 minutes left. So let's cut the rest of the hideouts a little bit short, because the rest of the fight is sort of a situation where you, once you managed to defeat your opponents in that zone and you manage to, attack a hideout and get down one of these shields, then you essentially have to be in the same spot at the next prime time 1 day later to continue that assault. So it's a multi-day effort to kill or to remove that hideout from the zone, and it depends on the tier or the upgrade level of that hideout. I think the lowest ones should take like 2 days
Takes
or
2
something.
days. Well,
yeah.
it would be different. Like if you have a hideout that is level 1 and goes to the next day and somebody attacks it during that prime time, it'll only have that one shield because it never got to get the
I'm
second
talking
shield.
established ones.
But if it's established a level 1 in this current iteration, all this is subject to change. Be clear. We're only going over this right now because it was leaked, and we just want to give better information than what was leaked. But to be clear, the starting ones would start with, like, a level 1 would start with, 1 shield, then the next day get up to 2. It would have a maximum of 2 shields. You'd have to get to level 2 to get to 4 shields, and then level 3 to get to 6 shields. So it's the amount of investment you put in directly returns to shields to defend yourself and give you more of a shot. Because it's...
I mean, if you think about that, then if you have a max level thing, you have to have a week-long constant siege on that plot.
Yeah, not just 5 days. It's a 6-day event. But the thing is, and here's the difference between home plots and these little hideouts. Hideouts don't have an evacuation period. It's going back old school, where when you lost, dude. Your stuff gets destroyed. It's just gone. It's not dropped on the ground. There's no bags for anybody to pick up. It's just deleted. The stuff inside the guild chest and your personal chest will be transported back to the nearest city. But anything you put in boxes, any buildings you created, any of that stuff,
I think, poof. If I read this correctly, guild stuff goes poof. But
guild stuff goes poof. Okay.
But guild personal things might be on that weird transport mechanic that we don't quite know about it yet. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then of course there's some upkeep involved if you want to keep your thing running. And there, one thing I guess we can mention is that the intention right now is to have these things not be self-sustainable entirely. If you assume you not only need to pay their upkeep, but also want to, make some potions or make some food with that limited amount of food you can grow inside this hideout. So there should be more transportation encouraged for guilds to move stuff into these hideouts and out of them. So at least that's what seems to be the undertone there. But this is all, again, just like a half sentence. But yeah, Shozen, anything else you want to say about hideouts or anything else for today before we switch to the next part of our show?
No, I think anything else I have to say, and then I'll talk about it in the next part of the show when we answer some questions. I think hideouts are really interesting. I think it's going to be a good mechanic to test. I really I've always kind of had this irritation with current home plots because they really tie you into a location and you don't go anywhere and you just kind of get bound to that location. And the more changes that have come along to make it easier to defend them and easier to get out of them once they're, broken, have all just kind of led to, I don't know, I mean, people just stay in that spot and don't ever go anywhere. And I'm hoping that this system encourages people to maybe, build one on the outer ring, get it going, start getting their place into the outlands, and then move deeper in by creating a new hideout and moving over to that one and slowly growing up that one instead and moving from one to the next, because it does seem easier to switch hideouts than it does to switch home plots. Now you're like, why would you say that? You have to upgrade these things and it's going to be a real disaster. Blah, 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 blah. Probably for the beginning, but you know what, it's a whole lot easier to build stuff now than it was when people started. And some of these old home plots were made when people had to spend hours just to upgrade a home plot by putting in stone, and that memory sticks in your mind and you don't want to walk away from something you put that much effort in. It's very hard to, but now it's a lot easier to build up these buildings. If you have the materials, then you can destroy them and take them down and get most of the resources back and move them somewhere else. So I'm totally just in favor of hideouts and how they will function as an alternative to home plots. And it'll be interesting to see what alliances do with these things. Will they put all their home plots together? Will they put all their hideouts in one territory and make sure that place is defended against all hell? Or will they spread them out to all the territories that they control and try to get guilds to really control areas just as much as the alliance itself? And I think that will be very much dependent on what the map looks like and how easy it is to move across the map. Like, if you make it hard to move across the map, people are going to stay in their plot. And that'll be really cool, getting back to that style of gameplay. All right, but we are over the time limit, so you guys can check us out every day, Monday through Friday at 18 UTC, right here, twitch.tv/Albion Online. Then you can find us, say you're at work and you just want to, listen to the podcast version. You can find that podcast almost anywhere, iTunes, Google Play, pretty much everywhere. Pandora, we're on everything right now. Just look up Albion TV. You'll find it. But say, you know what, you love live GVGs and crystal GVGs and love to watch people bang heads and just smash. Well, good news. Now, 4 days a week, Bogul. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at pretty much 19 UTC during the crystal GVG realm battles, we bring you live content and then bring highlights and then more live content at 20 UTC. Boom. So we're bringing you the content. And you will be able to get that pretty much every day except for Sundays. I don't like working Sundays.
And sometimes Saturdays, yeah.
And sometimes, because I am on Saturdays too.
I will check out, of course, all of these things now and make a bookmark now and subscribe to all of these things right now.
Good.
So I don't forget.
And follow and friend and like. Do thumbs up. I don't know. Do the heart button. Whatever, please share with your grandma. Let her know what kind of leader that Derek is, so that they can hear too and be encouraged to come play Albion Online and go, I want to face the king. It'd be great. All right, well, we're gonna be out of here for about a minute and then we'll be right back with overtime. Thank you guys for tuning in, and if I don't talk to you in 5, stay classy, Albion.